Hello, everyone. Welcome to Flourish Focus, a series featuring one-on-one exchange with fintech innovators around the world. As we are all aware, merchants not only in India, but in most emerging markets are often associated with informal bookkeeping and inventory management. They lack tools that cater to their daily needs, such as invoicing, collections, reconciliations, etc., adding more to their existing challenges. We are here today to understand these challenges much better and also speak to one of the companies that is solving for these pressing needs. I'm Harsh Gupta, associate at Flourish Ventures. Flourish is a global fintech investor, and our focus is in identifying technology innovations that at their core help directly or indirectly advance financial health and economic resilience for people and small businesses. And joining me today is Varun Tangri, founder and CEO of QueueBuster. QueueBuster is an easy to use Android-based SaaS solution that helps merchants address inefficiencies in their existing processes. Thank you for joining us today, Varun.
Thank you, Harsh. Thank you for having me here. And I would say good morning. I just like these early morning meetings, just give you a fresh perspective. How are you?
I'm doing well, Varun. I completely agree. And today we're here to understand and get an overview of some of these fresh perspectives. And to start off with, right, I just gave our audience a sneak peek into what QueueBuster is. But it's always the best to hear it from the founder in what their vision is. So as we get started, why don't you give us a quick overview in your own words of what QueueBuster actually is?
So QBuster basically is a business super app. It is a full stack mobile based point of sale system to manage in-store operations like inventory, billing, CRM, and payments for customers. And also using the tool, you can actually start your own online web store. So using the tool itself, you can actually bring your offline store online. And also it's for the multi-industry. So it works across all industries like retail, grocery, your electronics, fashion and apparel, mom and pop stores, food truck, electronics. So you name any industry, QBuster works just perfectly for them. So anything to do with online and offline billing for your customers and inventory management, you just need to have QBuster installed at your location, at your store.
Thank you, Varun. This is super helpful. So in summary, QBuster is solving for the invoicing, the inventory management, the e-store credit needs of these retail shops, right?
Absolutely.
Help us
Absolutely.
help us understand what is the hook product and what do these customers use first when you approach them, and why are they using this? What are the challenges that they face?
So absolutely, I would rather start from the need, why it all started, and why we think that it's the best product for the customers that is those who are using it. So basically, the idea was pretty simple. If you look at the market, there are two kinds of market. One is in organized, and the other is in unorganized market, right? And it's a global phenomena. You have organized players and unorganized players, right? So there is absolutely no solution, or there is a dearth of solution for merchants in the unorganized segment. They have not been using any kind of a B2B tool to manage their operations or manage their businesses, right? And that was just the reason why we started making QBuster, because there was absolutely no solution which could actually help or digitize or automate these small merchants. Typically, what we're looking for a merchant, those who have not been using any kind of a solution before, anybody who's looking to digitize or automate their business operations, wants to give receipts to their customers, is a typical merchant that we look around for. And perhaps QBuster becomes their first solution that they ever use for their business. So that's where we lie. We actually don't go to much of the bigger players, because they already have some kind of system in place. So the smaller players are the ones who take it up very quickly, and they form almost 80% of our business.
Understood. So This is super helpful, Varun. This gives us a good summary of what QueueBuster actually does, right? And who are you catering to? Varun, you are a serial entrepreneur, and you, in particularly in this space, have more than a decade of experience, right? You've been doing this previously.
I'm an old school.
I know particularly you started your previous startup wherein you were catering to the restaurants, which got acquired by one of the unicorn companies in India. Talk us through what your journey has been and what are the challenges that you faced in your previous ventures that you would like or that you aspired to change when you started QueueBuster. So it'll help our audience get a good overview of what your journey has been.
Sure, sure. So while you were just mentioning that, I remembered my 10 years of journey. So it was June of 2012 when we actually I started my entrepreneurial journey, and it is June of 2022. So it's been 10 years that I've been doing this. You are absolutely right. We like in my last stint, we were doing something in the similar space, which was B2B app space. Got acquired, got a decent exit, restarted my entrepreneurial journey in 2016 with QueueBuster. So it's been 6 years that we are doing this, and as we have been bootstrapped all throughout, never raised funds. This is for the first time that we have raised funds institutionally. So have been bootstrapped. So the entire team is pretty old. We have been together for almost 8-9 years now. The entire core team, and so it's been a great rewarding journey. And in our second stint, when we started in 2016, we were very clear that B2B apps on mobile devices are going to be the future, because it was a pretty nascent time in 2015-16 when apps on phones, smartphones were coming up, and we had a very clear idea that within the next 10 to 15 years, by 2025 or 2030, a lot of mobile-based B2B apps are going to be the forefront runners into this. And if we just survive for that long, we perhaps would become the number one player in this industry. And that's the reason why we have all stuck together. We have seen some great outcome over the years, and that's the reason why I think Flourish has decided to invest in us.
That's an incredible journey, Varun, and it's always amazing to see, and it's rare to see teams which have stuck by for such a long period. I think you and the team members both are fortunate to share that bond and share that common vision. So it's
Right.
that is one of the things that really fascinated us in terms of how the core team has really been together for such a long time. Warren, as you described about QueueBuster and your vision just now when you started QueueBuster, right? QueueBuster really cuts across multiple layers in the SME, SMB sectors, right? So you're essentially catering to a market which is over 10 million MSMEs, SMBs, right? Now that's a wide enough and a large enough pool, and we are all aware how big the MSME sector in India is. But for us to get a good understanding and for us to visualize better, tell us who your customer really is. Who are they? What do they do? What are their needs? And how does the QueueBuster solution exactly fit in?
Sure. So actually, I would qualify a statement a little bit more by saying that small merchants and medium and small enterprises is a global phenomena, right? You have small merchants all across the world. So the solution is designed not just for the Indian audiences. It can actually just go across borders, and that is what we have been doing so far as well. There are some international clients that we are catering to. But coming back to your question, so we believe that globally, this small business market is really huge. Specifically in Southeast Asia, I believe it's a backbone for like the industry. We have over 80%, 90% of the businesses at least in Southeast Asia, those are small businesses. And these guys typically don't think about using any software once they start their business. It is when they are hit by a lot of irregularities, operational inefficiencies, is when they look around for a solution which is cost effective, which doesn't take much of a space on their shelves, should be quick to start. The software should be easy to understand. It should not be like a cockpit of an aeroplane with so many buttons that they just don't understand where to go. So all these reasons actually helped us design the UI UX that we have, or the design the solution in such a sense that it could be used by small merchants. So the idea is to actually empower these small merchants, these small guys, those who don't start thinking about a business solution right away, but once they're in that journey of managing their in-store operations like inventory management and giving receipts to billing receipts to their customers, is when they start looking for a solution. And thankfully, in an Indian context, I would say that we have been able to crack that market despite all that competition that we have. Reason being because we have spent that much amount of time in the industry. We have been doing this for 10 years, and that has helped the solution become really omni-channel. It solves for a lot of pain points for the merchant, also works across a lot of industry standards. So I would say we are kind of front runners in this industry. We started this B2B app space way back in 2015 when nobody was doing this. So over the period of time, it has helped us evolve and cater to this MSMEs, the small and medium businesses. Also, having said that, I just want to tell you, even the biggest of the biggest companies like Unilever, they're also using our solution. So it has evolved to that scale where of the smallest of the merchants to the largest of the conglomerates can actually use our solution.
I've actually seen some of the merchants use the solution, Varun, and the solution is really holistic, because of which it cuts across industries, it cuts across the sizes of stores. So, I mean, kudos to you and the team for building such an incredible solution. But just give us a few examples of who your day-to-day user of a small merchant is. Just name a few of them. Is it the Kirana store? Is it the
Yes,
apparel store?
absolutely. So again, I'll give you a qualitative answer to this rather than saying that anybody can use it. So let's say a store which is of a 100 square feet size, right? They typically don't have space for to keep big desktop systems, because you go to a mall, right? You see a 100 square feet kiosk, and that guy cannot spend 10% of their retail space, the real estate, on putting a big system, right? So anybody who is crunch on space, anybody who doesn't want a big system to begin with, get into that complexities of understanding how a very big system which is used by let's say the biggest of the retail chains that we see all across. So that is the guy who we target to, and that is the target market that we go to first. But having said that, again, as I mentioned before as well, since the application is all mobile, right? It is to actually automate a lot of processes on mobile. It can be used all across. So just to give you an answer in short, you see a food truck, there you can use QueueBuster. You see a flower shop, a gift shop, there you can use QueueBuster. You see a vendor, roadside vendor who is selling stuff, there you can use QueueBuster. But on the other side, if you see a big company where there are a lot of feet on street kind of guys, those who want to like take bills or make invoices for their customers, they can also use the solution. So anything that has to do with mobility billing, we come into the picture.
Incredible. Thank you for such a detailed explanation, Varun. And as I said, the solution really cuts across multiple sectors and multiple sizes of companies. And that's sort of, I believe, what is the unique proposition by the company as well, right? So Varun, help us or what would the status quo be, right? In the absence of QueueBuster, what would a store owner be doing today?
Pen and paper. That's a very simple answer. Just pen and paper. A lot of registers, uh, no automation access. So the status quo is very simple. In the absence of QueueBuster, I would say there is nothing which is currently being used at those stores. Um, and we become their first B2B kind of an app for all this automation and all of this stuff, right? We become their first software as like per se which they start using for their outlets. So the status quo is pretty non-existent, I would say. Nothing is being really used. They have been like trying some other solutions that's there in the market. The market is really competitive. There are players, but once they start using QueueBuster, then they understand that it's a full stack solution, right? It just doesn't solve one piece of their problems. Once they start using QueueBuster, they find everything inside a single application, and that just makes us the most powerful of the players in the industry right now.
No, that makes sense. And I have walked into a store so many times and I've seen the owner write down their sales and what they have built on a piece of,
Absolutely right.
and I've
Yeah,
always wondered, how do these guys track their profits? How do these guys
it's a
track their,
nightmare for them. It's a nightmare for them because see what happens at the end of the day. Once they shut their shop, they have to do a lot of manual reconciliations, right? How much, what's the sales, what's the inventory, right? They have to do a lot of that, which just help them with just a single click, and they have like entire view of their business.
No, I completely agree. And, Varun, that's one of the reasons why we invested in QueueBuster as well, because, we believe a solution like QueueBuster really solves for the day-to-day needs of these small format stores. And your solution not only makes the overall operation seamless, but also unlocks a lot of potential for these stores, right? So, um, um, yeah, I mean, but having said that, right, a tough question. I mean, again, these are smart retail owners, right? They did not know QueueBuster, and to really convince them to use your solution, I'm sure that would have been a difficult journey. Tell us, how did you do that, or give us a few anecdotes of what your journey of those initial days was in terms of selling your first solution or convincing the first
Absolutely.
100 set of merchants.
So it's a great question. It's a difficult market, Harsh, right? It's an extremely. I'm talking in Indian context as of now. It's an extremely difficult market to crack in. I think the most important factor that has helped us scale all our businesses across is building that trust with the merchant. So what happens again? I'm telling you from an Indian context as of now is there is a lack of trust for any player, right? It's not just QueueBuster in specific. Once you approach a merchant, once you go and try to sell a solution, obviously that guy doesn't know you. He doesn't know your company. And since we were a bootstrap company, we were not even spending tons of money on marketing and stuff like that. So practically, there was no information, prior information with the merchant about QueueBuster, right? So the trust factor you need to build in by having that first cut or first introduction with your merchant, and by giving them an option to start using your solution without upfront charging them any money. So the idea was very simple. It's just to give them a solution which is free of cost for certain period of time, so that they can experience the entire product in the entirety, and after that take a decision whether they want to continue paying for this, or they would want to pay for a solution of that sort. And that, I believe, is the core of any SaaS business. Is you introduce your solution to your customers, give them for give it them to like for free for some time, let them try the solution, and then ask for money later on. That has helped us. So we have been just giving around our solutions to most of the people, most of the merchants possible. And then once they start liking the solution is when we get into that commercial terms and stuff like that. But yes, building that trust, I believe, is the most important thing and most important stuff for any business.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I, we both know that these shop owners, they are really smart people, right?
Absolutely.
If they know something, they know their business, they understand what costs are, and you know, when they pay for something, that really adds to their business. So when they're paying you for using your product, that's a great validation that a use case does exist. It really solves for their pain points, right? So
Right.
I,
And we
I
know,
think
Harsh,
that,
that it's a generational business in India, right? It starts with somewhere around from grandfather's time, then it comes down to fathers, and now the new age guys, they have taken over that businesses and they are doing it, right? So we know that they have that generational operational intelligence about their business. Even if you don't give it a solution, they have been running this for decades, right? So they have that kind of an operational intelligence built in their genetics, I would say. And then to offer them something like this, which is on mobile, which is new age, right? It obviously requires that kind of a trust building before they can actually start paying you.
that's true. That's absolutely true. So Varun, as you just said, right, for these owners, you're solving for invoicing, you're solving for inventory, you're solving for e-store credits. And one of their important needs as they operate, as they scale, as they grow their business, and as they make their operations more efficient is getting access to credit, getting access to financing and financial products, right? Which has
Right.
been one of the foremost challenges, right?
Right.
So in the overall scheme of things, how does financial services play a role in QueueBuster's journey, and where does that enter?
So I think financial services is the logical next step, I would say. Simply said, because see, once you onboard a merchant, and once a merchant is there in your ecosystem, what you can actually do is you can provide them with a lot of financial services, something like lending, something like insurance, something like which can help them actually scale their businesses. So the typical market that we're talking about are small merchants, right? They are the small and medium enterprises, and they're always in a need to expand their businesses, and they have been taking loans or credits from banks typically, which is again is kind of a broken system, because then they have to talk to an agent, they have to get all their KYC done and stuff like that. But in our scenario, once the merchant is already there on the platform, is already using our solution day in and day out, it becomes a logical step to actually offer them solutions like lending, or just give them a nudge saying that, hey, if you want to expand your business, there is this very low or cost effective loan that is available, which you can avail, right? And since we already have all their information, they just don't need to upload anything any further. So the platform becomes really holistic from them. It becomes really full stack, which is just not solving their in-store or online requirements, but also offering them a plethora of financial services, right, from lending and insurance and whatnot. And it can scale to any height from that point onwards.
And this is where it aligns with our embedded finance thesis, Varun, right?
It's
We've
like
spoken about
music to your ears, right?
yes, it's like we've spoken about embedded finance so many times, wherein you are providing a solution, you are catering to the day-to-day use and needs of a customer, and financial services is just the logical next step, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, I completely align in the way that you're thinking about it, right? Now, we've spoken about financial services as well. And I remember just a week back, we were thinking about what are the various next steps in our journey, right? How do we think about what the evolution of this product will be, and how do we think about expanding and growing this business, right?
Right.
The industries that you would want to get into, which you're not catering to today, the features that you would like to add going forward.
Absolutely.
Give our audience a sneak peek into what's running in your minds.
Sure. So I would say that we have been building QueueBuster for the last 6 years, and I would say we are still 1% done in terms of product features and stuff like that. So anything which is operating in this space is an ever evolving kind of a product, because there are new challenges that comes in terms of, let's say, payment collection. So new ways of payment collection comes in. There are new challenges like the way the businesses are operating, that comes in. So I would say that it's an ever increasing, ever evolving kind of a product. It will keep on evolving. But to just give you a snapshot of where we are going, we believe that there are a lot of industries that we are not solving for right now. Let's say pharmacies and jewelries, they have certain specific requirements for their businesses that we are not solving. So in terms of catering to multiple industries, we have to go a little more horizontal. We have left out around 20% of the market which we don't cater to right now. That is what we intend to do. Secondly, in terms of features, I would say yes, lending and embedded finance becomes the next logical step where we would like to get into. And also, so one of the key things that is coming up in India and in Southeast Asia, I would say, is to bring your store online. That has been really a trigger point in the pandemic area, right? So 2020 onwards, there has been this surge of businesses wanted to go online, and that is one of the core features that we provide, is to actually bring your store online using our e-store feature, right? So I believe that we have a lot of headroom for growth in that direction, wherein the businesses can actually start going online. So things like they can choose multiple themes, they can design their own store in the way that they want to. So all these features is what we intend to do. Right now what just happens is their in-store catalog is just exposed to an online URL. That is what is happening in today's time. But if you see, like, let's say Shopify for that matter, the kind of functionality that they provide, we don't have it as of now, but it's in the we are getting there, and we should be able to crack that market. So just to summarize that, one is to go really horizontal, cater to more industries, bring in more features into the product based on those for those industries, and also get more into that online space where you can actually start building your online store, and then it becomes seamless, omni channel product, right? Offline, online, everything just on a single platform.
Really looking forward to brainstorming more on these and getting a ringside view of how this scales and how
Absolutely.
this goes from where we are today to the next level, right? Warren, we're
Sure.
reaching the fag end of our chat, right? You know, but this is one question that I always like to understand from the founders, right? A journey in a startup is not an easy one. There are always surprises which come through, and there are always these ups and downs which are there. Give
Right.
Tell me what something that surprised you, which was opposed to sort of your ingoing thesis.
So I would rather like to talk about a positive surprise than a negative surprise, because see, in any journey for that matter, you are in for a lot of ups and downs. But I would like to highlight on, or talk about things which are positives rather than negatives. So positive surprise was, like, we internally believe that the market is going to respond a little later, maybe 2024 or 2025. Uh, we thought that it's going to take at least 10 years so that B2B apps on mobile phone would pick up really. But to my surprise, it happened 3-4 years before. So that was a positive surprise, and the market responded really well. I would attribute that a lot to the pandemic as well, because that has triggered that kind of a requirement for digital solutions. But again, that's a positive surprise that I would want to highlight. And the second thing is, market was really ready. We underestimated the market, believing that these small merchants won't be like looking around for such solution. But we were surprised that these guys not only have knowledge about such kind of solutions, but are also willing to start using a solution like QueueBuster. So all good, like all positive surprises. Uh, Rather than that, I don't think there was anything highlighting.
Love your spirit of being optimistic. I'm sure There are obviously a lot of these day-to-day things that happen in a startup journey, right?
Yeah, you know that. You know that.
Of course. Great. And last one, right? Flourish really cares about who these end customers are at the end of the day, right? That's our core focus area and that's our mission. Um, if I were to walk in to a retail store and
Hmm.
talk to a shop owner who's using a QueueBuster solution, what is the feedback that they would give me? What would they say? How has their life changed?
So firstly, I expect they give you a good feedback. That's what my expectation is. But yes, the feedback would be optimization of time. I would say would be the should be the number one answer that they should give you. That once they start using QBuster, it has saved them a lot of time. Secondly, would save them a lot of effort because as I told you before as well, uh, they were using pen and paper kind of a solution so far, never really formally used any solution. So all that was marred with a lot of inefficiencies, a lot of loss of not just money, but a loss of time, which is equivalent to money, I would say. So really, QBuster has really optimized their time, their effort, and eventually their hassle of running their business. So once they start using our solution, it becomes a lot more seamless so that they can focus on their core business, which is to serve customers rather than figuring about how to do inventory management or think about multiple payments and stuff like that. So it becomes really seamless, optimizes their time, and that would be the biggest feedback that you would get once you talk to our customers.
Thank you, Varun. And thank you so much, Varun, for joining us today. And more importantly, for the work that you're doing and building QueueBuster that's really serving the retail stores in India and helping them to succeed. You know, these small format stores play a vital role in our ecosystem, and you're really enabling them and really empowering them through the solution that you're building.
Thank you, Harsh, for having me here. And just want to make a final statement into this is that we want to become a holistic solution, a full stack solution, which serves most of the needs of businesses in India and not just in India, all across the globe, right? We want to become that de facto software that anybody who is imagining to start his business, start his shop, or maybe anything of that sort, QBuster should be the first name that should come into their mind. And that's what we are really gunning for, to become that default de facto solution, which is just like electricity. You don't think anything about electricity anymore, right? It's given. That is what QBuster should become eventually in near future.
On to that journey, Varun, along with you.
Sure.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you special thank you to our audience for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed listening into our conversation and understanding a little bit more about QueueBuster and how Varun's journey has been. If there are any questions regarding today's discussion, or with respect to Flourish Ventures or our portfolio companies, you can email us at events@flourishventures.com.